Hello, and another episode of the Smiles Ahead podcast powered by Burrow Welchel Culp Orthodontics. Today we're going to change it up a little bit and kind of get to know who Burrow Welchel Culp Orthodontics is. We're going to do just a little bit of history about how we all came into the practice, how this practice was formed, basically how we all got here. Sometimes that's nice to know. Who you're working with and all that good stuff. So obviously with my dad in the practice, he's the one that started all of this in 1978. So in 1978, he came out of school. My mom moved back from Charlotte. She's actually a original Charlottean, which is very rare to find. If you're from here or lived here for a while, you know that that's not very common. So they came back here, settled in, joined a practice, started what is now Burrow Welchel Culp Orthodontics at the Randolph Road location. So that is the original location. If you go to that one, hopefully some changes have been made since then, but it is the original building and where it all started. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, so he started in practice there, was going all the way through. I had the fortunate ability to grow up while he was doing orthodontics, so was in and out of the office, not only with braces, but just hanging out there. Eventually got old enough to, do some side jobs. So in high school, I would be a runner between the practices and just bringing charts. This is before electric charts. So, if they were being seen at this office or that office, the charts had to somehow get there. And I was that guy. So started off there, then was able to graduate up into the lab. That's where you're making retainers and appliances and all that good stuff. So you get a little bit more acclimated with the teeth, able to interact with the patients by taking impressions some. And that moved me into college, where at that point I kind of knew, I want to do this as well. So put my sights on dental school. And in between summers there, was able to come back and get more experience, was able to be trained as an assistant, where I was actually, being able to change wires and, see the braces process and all the way through. So the advantage of that was unbelievable, just knowing what I was getting into. So once I got through college, I went to dental school. We went to Medical University of South Carolina. I was at College of Charleston, so instead of going the traditional route, going to North Carolina, I just stayed in Charleston and went to dental school there, which is a very fortunate part of the story because that is where I met Dr. Brittany Welchel and Dr. Alex Culp, our other two partners. I met Alex first, being that he was in my class. So me and Alex were in the same class. His last name's Culp. My last name's Burrow. We were put together a lot. Pretty much became best friends with him and his twin pretty immediately. And the rest is history with that. We got to know each other really well. Got to do a lot of dental things together, outside of the office stuff together, outside of school stuff together. So formed a really close bonding relationship. And then Brittany came in. So Brittany was a year younger than us. And again, her name was Bear at the time, and my name was Burrow. And how it's done is you are placed, if you're a fourth year, a third year, a second year, you're placed with somebody below you to kind of mentor your way through. So Brittany and I were always placed together in different sections and units for me to mentor her. I don't know if that's really the case, but funny story that we always tell is I think at this point I was a fourth year and she was a third year. So we go to oral surgery clinic. I was already in orthodontic school, so I knew I was not going to be taking teeth out for a living. So I decided, I have this eager third year helping me out. And what the protocol was traditionally the third year would go in and diagnose the tooth, say, this tooth needs to come out. This is why, this is how we should do it. This is how we should get them numb, go through the whole process of the treatment plan. Then the fourth year would go and execute it and take out the tooth. Well, in our world, what I did is let her do that, then showed her how to do one, did a couple, and then said, guess what? This week, you get to take out as many teeth as you want. So as a third year, she got tons of experience taking out teeth, and I got to relax and take a look and watch her get it done. And she did a great job. So that just kind of shows the type of person she was. Regardless of what she was going into, she was very eager to jump in there and get it done. So when she went to ortho residency, we talked about, because I'd done it the year before, so I told her about the applying process and all that good stuff. And, not that she needed any help. She was number one in her class, number one about everything she did. So got into wherever she wanted. She decided to go to Baylor down in Texas. And when she started getting close to the end, that's when Dad and I said, you know what? It's just me and him. It was just me and him at the time. It was just Burrow Orthodontics. And we said, this time we need somebody. I knew Brittany was going to be the person. So when the time came, she came into Charlotte. It was much less, what would you call it, formal than I guess it would say it is now. So when an associate comes in now to interview, we have something all set up for them, a dinner, we walk them through the practices, kind of a set routine. Well, with Brittany, I picked her up at the hotel in the morning. We drove down to the office, kind of told her, yeah, this is the office, this is the deal. This is how much we're going to pay you. You good with that? Cool. And literally, that was the conversation. So I think we made like some Word document on the spot that she signed, and that was the contract. So again, a lot less complicated, or I guess sophisticated as it is now. But it just showed the level of trust even at that point. We'd mentioned, hey, we're going to treat you like a partner right off the bat. We want you to be able to treat your patients as efficiently as possible without us getting in the way. And that's exactly what happened. She acted as a partner first day, and then her and I were able to buy in with Dad a couple years later. And to go about contracts, I think my contract was, hey, you better show up. You're done Friday. You better show up to work Monday. This is what I'm going to pay you. But it worked out pretty well. So Brittany and I had a less traditional way of doing it. But that's how it started. So then it became Burrow Welchel Orthodontics. I think that was 2016 or around-ish, maybe 2015, where that name changed, where Brittany became an official partner. So it was both of us. At that time, we decided that, hey, we got this other best friend that is talking about going to pediatric school, and this is Alex Culp. So Dr. Alex Culp, one of my best friends, came and talked to Dad and I about going to pediatric residency. He'd been in practice with his twin and his father down in Rock Hill, and decided he wanted something a little bit different. So he applied, got in the first year, went to D.C. for pediatric residency. Year that goes by, and I think he got exposure to some orthodontics. He'd also had some exposure with orthodontics by working for my dad a little bit while he was a general dentist, just taking off glue and some of that stuff. So he'd seen the process and, kind of saw somewhat of the inner workings. But at this point, he decided, I might want to go back to orthodontic residency. Now, mind you, he's been through 4 years of dental school. He's been through a couple years of private practice. He's been through 2 years of pediatric residency at this time, and now is going to sign up for 3 more years of orthodontic residency. So to say that he's a student of the game is not saying enough. He really likes to educate himself and take stuff very seriously when he does. And so we knew that was the type of other partner that we wanted. So when he came and talked to us after he got into pediatric and wanted to do orthodontics, we said, go full tilt, go all in. We got a spot for you. To be honest, at that point, the practice was not big enough for 4 orthodontists. But we knew that Alex was such a special person and was going to be such a special orthodontist that we were going to figure it out and we were going to make space for him. So that's exactly what happened. By the time he got out, we were kind of close to needing that orthodontist. And, me, Brittany, and Dad just had to have faith that we were going to make this thing grow while we got there. Alex came in right after residency and hit the ground running. He actually did some educational stuff up at MUSC. So he taught for a couple days a week in Charleston and then would drive back and work 3 days as an orthodontist in Charlotte. So he had a pretty busy schedule for that first 6 months. And then, like we were expecting, things picked up and we needed him full time. So Dad had the conversation with him and said, hey, I know you love teaching, but do we have an opportunity to have you more in the clinic. And then we started talking about, and we knew whenever we bring somebody in, we always want to bring in somebody that has that culture and that we know. And so Alex was by far one of those people and knew that he was going to be a partner. So I think in 2020, I think maybe pandemic year, maybe a year prior, maybe somewhere in that area, 2020. It gets a little phasey in there with the whole COVID time, but that's when Alex bought in. So officially bought in, and we are all 25% partners. So everybody has the equal seat at the table, and that's kind of how we wanted it designed. We came in, we both, want to share our compassion for not only the patients, but for each other, because we know that our relationship with each other pushes us to be better orthodontists. Dad always says it's great to have other orthodontists that are, just as, passionate about it as you are come behind you, because, it just gives you that check. Like, hey, am I doing this right? Is this the best for the patient? Because that's what we always ultimately want. What's going to be the best for the patient? What's going to get the best smiles? What's going to get the best results? So we also committed to becoming board certified, which you would think that most orthodontists are board certified, but that's not the case. You have to go through not only your residency, become an orthodontist, but you have to go through another rigorous process of taking cases down to a board, defending them, doing a written test, all these different things to take that next level, just to show that your expertise is something that you cherish very much. And we could do a whole nother podcast on what it takes to be a board certified orthodontist. And I think at the time, probably, I think now a little bit more, they've made the process a little bit more digital and easier access. So I think about half the orthodontists are probably board certified. But that was certainly not the case when we were doing it. I think it was about maybe 25, 30%. So we all committed to doing that, and that's just where we wanted things to go. So we were able to grow this thing, come together. We got to go to a lot of masterminds together, a lot of thinking together, and I can't tell you that there's any better partners to have than Dr. Welchel, Dr. Culp, and obviously my dad, the other Dr. Burrow, in terms of setting up for success for you as the patient and being able to get those best results possible. We do have some great news too. We have, we have some great associates, as y'all might know, that hopefully will be part of the team at some point. We also have Dr. Albert Burrow, so he'll be the third Burrow coming in at the end of next month. So we're super excited about having my brother. Dad is having another son. He's formed best friend relationships with Brittany and Alex as well. So just keeping that culture in there of patient comes first. This is how we want to do things. Dad's been doing that since 1978. I could share some stories of just things that I saw the way through my career, and it was very nice to be able to get that feel. It was never about, hey, how much are we going to charge for this, or we're going to charge for this. If somebody came in, he took care of them. If there's been a number of cases where somebody came in and simply couldn't afford it, but he knew that it was going to change somebody's life, and he said, you know what, we're just going to take care of this. And that was huge. That was very impactful, especially as a young orthodontist and even as a young kid working in the practice, to see those type of things, to see that kind of compassion for the patient, to putting the orthodontics and the patient first. And I know Brittany and Alex have been able to see a lot of that as well. So that's helped us keep that culture that Dad started a long time ago with Burrow Orthodontics and Burrow Welchel Orthodontics, now Burrow Welchel Culp Orthodontics, and we will see what the future holds. So I know that was a long-winded history, but sometimes it's nice to know where everybody came from and how this whole thing got started. Well, thanks for joining me, guys, and we will see you next week for another episode of the Smiles Ahead podcast. Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Smiles Ahead podcast, powered by Burrow Welchel and Culp Orthodontics. Be sure to leave a rating, hit that subscribe button, and if you have more questions, you can reach out to me directly at sam@bwcortho.com. That's sam@bwcortho.com. You can also visit our website,
bwcortho.com, and we will be happy to answer any questions you might have.